All right, I want to say good evening. Good evening to our Second Nazareth Baptist Church family and friends. It is good to be with you this evening and coming together to discuss another session of spiritual transformation, getting into spiritual shape, um, creating a better new you. I always come to you with Reverend Willie Carl Outlaw III and the Reverend Edward D. Irick representing our ministerial staff and bringing you the best that we can in uh, Bible study and training. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. We are talking about spiritual transformation, and um, we discussed at length the Will Smith and the Chris Rock subject matter. And we talked about this morning how spiritual transformation is important, um, and how we are all in need of spiritual transformation. And I apologize. I said that if I had put, my personal posts is for my personal stuff, my pastor's page is for my pastor stuff, but I will advertise on both pages or send things out on both pages at times. But my personal page is my personal page, and I don't hide my personal page or anything like that. I put it out there because I'm not gonna be disrespecting God. But people have their opinion. I mean, I'm a human being too. But I put on my page as my one of my captions, and I'm gonna just read it to you because some people, you know, they get to tripping about this little stuff. But whatever. I don't trip too much. I gotta read it because I want to get I want to get it right. Let's see. So I put on my personal page, and I want y'all to know that Facebook is mainly for this stuff ain't for real. I mean, you don't share your all your business out here in your life and stuff like that. I mean, this ain't this is Facebook is not the place to live your life out loud. I mean, and for me, it's for entertainment and um connections purposes. Okay. So I said, and this is I said it, but definitely is not to be taken uh so serious. So I said in relationship to the Will Smith thing, real men don't slap. I say staged, and real men don't allow another man to slap them, whether on national TV or not. Had it been me, the Oscars would still be on commercial break. And I said that in response to what Will um, Smith actions were toward Chris Rock, which I think were, and just let me say, I don't condone violence. So I'm gonna throw my little disclaimer out there. I don't, condone uh, what happened, but I do believe in a right to defend yourself. I do believe that we all got a right to defend ourselves. So if Chris Rock would have um, jumped back at Will Smith, it would have been justifiable. Kick a butt aside. It would have been justifiable. I'm gonna just put it like that. It would have been justifiable. Um, the and I'm basically saying, in my own opinion, somebody put out today, if somebody gave you $5 million to slap your pastor in church, would you do it? I'm gonna tell you right now, you can take the $5 million, but the point is, are you gonna live to spend one dime of the $5 million. Because the way my spiritual transformation is set up, yeah, the way my spiritual transformation is set up, Lord have mercy. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. You better not come up and try to slap me. Cause see, I ain't gonna let you get up on me. First of all, when you started getting a little too close to the pulpit area, right around the red carpet in the front, right there where you get ready to hit that first step, I'm gonna meet you halfway. So I just want you to. I just want you to. I would say let them pay their tithes first. All I'm gonna say, I am a CIP. I am a Christian in progress. It would not have been me. I'd have skull drug Will Smith all around that stage. They've been to a commercial break. They've still been at commercial break. Oscars would have had 4 or 5 parts because they'd have had to do a lot of editing. So I said that to say most of us would feel that way. I don't know too many people that would stand there and get slapped in the face or let somebody punch them in the face. I mean, that, and I think it might have been, I don't know, maybe some people felt it was a joke went wrong or something, but there are certain parts of that it didn't look like that was just spontaneous. All right. But let's discuss a deeper piece of this because everybody's been talking about it now. People say, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. A lot of people cried out that it was violence, physical violence, domestic violence. Some people were saying that it was a poor display of behavior. It painted black people in a bad light. It was a shame that the African Americans were there, and we made it was African Americans that was showing out in front of America and all this kind of stuff. Well, whatever your take on it is, it does bring to question spiritual transformation. Some people say that Chris Rock was the bigger man because he turned the other cheek. Well, yeah, he turned the other cheek. He basically didn't do anything. Sister Garvin reminded us this morning that this is the approach that Martin Luther King was taking, the nonviolent pacifist approach. And I had to really think about that because as I evaluate my spiritual progress, I've gotten a whole lot better, but I ain't been delivered from non-retaliation. Romans 12 tells us, I beseech ye therefore, brethren. Y'all look at it in y'all Bibles if needed. Romans 12 and 1. I beseech ye therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a holy sacrifice. I mean, a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your most reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And see, here's the deal. Be not conformed to this world. What would many of us would have done? We would have retaliated. I'm just sorry because a slap is one of the most despicable, low down, disrespect that equates with spitting in a person's face. Couple of things you ain't gonna do, and I'm gonna ask forgiveness. Cause see, I got a little Peter in my bloodline. The Apostle Peter. The Apostle Peter was my great 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 grandfather, third removed on my daddy's side. So I'm kin to a cusser and a cutter. Peter is in my ancestry line. And so what I really am trying to say, the apple don't fall far from the tree. Dude just put his hands on Jesus to take him. And my great 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 grandfather, 3 times removed on my mama them side, he took out a switchblade and cut his ear off. So I ain't really graduated from that because that's a part of my heritage, I guess. But the other thing is, I don't understand how some people say it's so easy to do this, so easy to do that. But the truth is, that would be a difficult thing for me to do, to let a man disrespect me. That's the equivalent of spitting on me. And like we use this expression, man, when you brought that up, you slapped me in my face. When we say we want to get somebody, I'm going to slap the taste out your mouth. We don't say I'm going to punch the taste out your mouth. We say slap. We ain't trying to hurt you. We trying to, if a man do it to another man, he's trying to emaciate him and call him the B word. I want you to see how bad this just was. And yeah, I'm gonna slap the fire out of you. Expressions like that. So anytime we say slap, we really mean it's the ultimate form of disrespect with an open hand. An open hand slap. Not a backhand slap. Coming from way down here. Yeah. Now if you train, that thing can knock you out. If you train, but especially a little short one, it could break your neck almost in one hit. It surely can knock you out. But this was done to show disrespect. Then my man popped his jacket and he turned his back. Now I'm gonna tell you, if you slap me and you catch me and you turn your back to me, they've been like, "What's that noise?" That's that microphone stuck up the back wheel's neck. And every time he moved his neck, you would hear, because that been the crunching sound of that microphone stuck in the back of his Abdullah oblongata. So he walks away, turns his back to him, and starts, oh man, he'd have had the microphone stand, the chair, the podium. He'd have wore all of that. And they would, when you came back to the awards, all the lights would have been out. They would have been in the dark. They would have had their cell phones with lights. I was like, what happened? He tore his stage up. I'm saying what I'm saying to paint the picture to you of what Jesus is really saying. Be not conformed to this world. When you are really spiritually transformed, all of those thoughts that I'm saying that I would do are anti-biblical, anti-Christian, according to what Jesus said. Jesus said in the time of old, they said an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But in his Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says these words about if somebody slaps you on the cheek, you ought to turn the other one and give it to them also. If they hit you, slap you in the face, then you to turn the other. So it really bothers me because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't got there yet. And I'm trying to figure out what Jesus is really saying here. What is Jesus really saying when he says in Matthew 38 and 39, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn them the other cheek also. So how do we add this to our repertoire? How do we add what Martin Luther King did with nonviolent protesting? And I saw where they were spitting on them, hitting them with billy clubs. My hat goes off for anyone who was on the front lines in the civil rights movement, because it meant that you had to control yourself. You know, I said that if I had grown up during that time of the civil rights movement, I ain't gonna lie, I would have probably taken up Malcolm X's thoughts. I couldn't have signed up for one of them sit-in protests. Y'all leave me outside throwing Molotov cocktails. Let me set the fire and start burning down stuff. You know, I would have been one of them ones that was burning down Watts. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't think I could have done it. And I don't think that's the natural inclination of many Christians. And if you realize that that wouldn't have been you, then how do we reconcile this with spiritual transformation? For me, it means that I have many miles to go before I sleep. For me, it means I really have to get to the root of what does Jesus mean when he says to turn the other cheek. Does Jesus want me to be a pushover? Does Jesus want me to be a punk Christian? Does Jesus want me to be this cowering Christian? What does he really mean? And so we're here to talk about that. And kind of understand what Jesus is saying to us. So come on, brothers, let's get it in a little bit. Let's start dialoguing on this.
Hey, good evening, Pastor. You know, I like the what ifs, um, and young children, when they're in that inquisitive phase, they hit us with that what ifs. And Jesus tells you that if you get strike on one cheek, turn the cheek and give that person the other cheek. Where, why? Why, daddy? Why, mommy? Why, pastor? Why, Reverend Outlaw? Um, it goes to extent of how far he's trying to teach us to go. Um, like our personal response to the matter of, do we let Will Smith get away or any other person get away with slapping us uh, right in the middle of Second Nazareth service? um, before that even happened, Jesus is trying to tell us, yes, and this is how far you go with it. And it brings me to Matthew 18, 21, and 22. Matthew chapter 18, 21, and 22. When it comes to turning the other cheek, this adds very well along with it. Matthew 18, 21, and 22. Then came Peter to him, the same pastor that you say you got, or great granddaddy Peter that cut the man's ear off in the garden. Then came Peter, come here, Peter, to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Till 7 times? I see you, Reverend Outlaw. Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7 and more. And this is the kind of lesson right here. Man, Jesus, if the man jump up against me to fight, should I kill him? Well, as your brother, if he slaps you on one cheek, then offer him the other cheek. If he sinned against me, Jesus, 7 times, should I forgive him? Well, if he comes to you asking for forgiveness, or if he had not even asked yet, be ready to forgive him 77 times. And this is the preparation phase of the why, Pastor, the why. Why? Why does yellow and blue make green? Why does red and white make orange? And you could give the best answer you can to that child, but they will why you 70 times 7 to understand why. And some of them may go, oh, when you get finished, but most of them will come with another question, Pastor. Well, as young Christians, old Christians, mature Christians, fresh out the oven Christians, right here as we go through all these lessons and parables that Jesus taught personally, and then all the apostles came along and wrote their books of teaching them. Paul, with the most number of the teachings of Jesus, taught them to old Christians, new Christians, young Christians, beginner Christians, whatever kind of Christian you were or are. It's a daily reminder, a daily walk that we take up our cross daily and be reminded of what Jesus was teaching, what he wants to get in us, what he'll have us, that if someone offends you one time and they keep doing it over again, if you want to be like me, then you have to be able to forgive 77 plus times. If you want to be like me, if you want to conform to my image, then you have to have a willingness to forgive and not to fight. That places us, quite a few of us, Pastor, in the CIP. Mama Noble said it. CIP, Christian in planning. I'm still working on it. Yeah, but how much are we dedicating our time to work on it? How willing are we to go if I have to go by myself? What are we doing to make these changes? How are we adjusting during these pandemic 24 months on being a better me, being a better Edward, trying not to be quick to anger, trying not to be ready to fight, trying not to know that I have a knife in my pocket and I'm proud of it, trying not to be proud that I brought my pistol to church and it's right out there in the car. You know, where are we when we have these type of thoughts and these type of actions and about it? How we maneuvering to make a change and willing to make this change with the walk in our lives? It's very interesting, Pastor. You know, that question, or the children may say why and why and why. We are caught right there trying to give the answer to the why. We're trying our very best. Ephesians 4:31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Ephesians 4:31. Some of the lessons that the Apostle Paul was teaching. 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Now, if we can get transformed and we can change, we can be impressionable on those young children and get them to walk in a way that they should walk. Train up that child so that when they get old, you can depart from it. But as in training up the child and trying to be who we are, we have to be the best teacher. We have to be the best example. We have to walk by faith and not by sight. We have to trust enough in the Lord that he will fight our battles. We have to know that if we continue to lift our eyes to the hills when coming our help will come from the Lord. We have to know that when, like David was caught in the cave with no escape route, Pastor, that the Lord was going to save him. We can discuss the Chris and the Will thing forever. Some people go as far as saying that be a man. I'm not a fan of the be a man statement when it comes to you doing something wrong, because Will Smith will still provide for his family. He'll still continue to go to church. He may ask for forgiveness. He will put food on the table. He'll protect his wife. He'll do all those things that a man normally do, or what we consider a man does. But just as soon as a man does something wrong, he's not a man. No, you didn't follow God's commandments. You didn't follow his image. You weren't walking in the precepts of the Lord. You know, you're not less of a man because you did wrong, but you've done some things unwisely, and you wasn't maybe a wise man. But we have to get in practice, Pastor, of doing what God asks us to do and be willing to change what we want to do. Colossians 3:8. But now you must put them all away: anger, wrath, malice, slander, and obscene talk from your mouth. Daily lessons to help us to change. We must be willing to change. We must be willing to practice it. We must be willing to do the work and teach it and pass it on to one another. This is our responsibility that Christ wants us to take.
Yep. I definitely concur and agree with that, Reverend Eric, especially as we, discuss um, our spiritual transformations in the terms of the things that we need to get rid of. Um, those are some of the roots. Actions are actually the symptoms of thoughts. You see, actions are actually the manifestation of some type of will, our will or God's will, controlling our actions. But it all formulates with a thought. And what we really want people to understand is we got to change the way we think in order to achieve the things that you're talking about, to train up our children in the way they should go. First, we got to know that the scripture is the way to go. First, we have to understand that God's ways are better than our ways. That we are to um, hide the word in our heart, as David did. They said that I wouldn't sin against God. So that's one piece of it. The other piece of it that I'd like to talk about um, is I do agree, and I joke about my transformation. I've come a long way. I'm better than him. I said I'm better than him, and I'm better than him. I'm better than him 3 years ago, him 13 years ago, him 23 years ago. And so that's progress in God. Now, yeah, if Chris Rock would have retaliated, oh, it could have broke out into a big thing. Okay, I'm gonna accept that, and I'll live with that. As I also think about it, it was the right thing to do, but I also wrestle with talking about a man's wife in public, in front of a man. I don't care if you're a comedian. I don't care if you don't even compliment a man's wife in a certain way. Um, you don't greet her in a certain way. Uh, and that's a problem for me, is that harsh words stir up anger. And I think even in our jokes, uh, I, I think even in our jokes, we have to be careful not to deal with subjects that are hurtful or that can wound. And I think there had been some ongoing words for some time between the entities as well. And I think the explicative, my wife's name out your blank mouth, when he used that expression, used the explicative, I think it was a sense of frustration on Will's part. I'm sick and tired, man. You always got my wife's name in your mouth. That's enough of that. I think that it indicated that. I'm saying all this to say, in going through this, uh, there's just certain areas you don't deal with people. Um, I'm not taking any side in it. I probably wouldn't have went on the stage if I was Will. I probably wouldn't have went up to him and slapped him in the public. But when he came down, look here, man. Let me holler at you. No, let me holler at you. I need to talk to you about something. I would have tried to settle it. And then if he got a little froggy, then I might have to throw him in some hot grease. I'm just saying. If it went south. No, I would try to walk away first. But then if he ran up on me, it's going to be a problem. And what I'm saying to us is there was some distasteful stuff on both sides. Two wrongs don't make a right. I'm really not worried about Jada. I mean, okay, her face. I mean, me, I'd probably been at the table just laughing. And if she'd have looked at me like that, I'd have just stopped laughing. I wouldn't have jumped on Chris. I just would have stopped laughing. I'd been like, man, that would... I'd have to catch it later. But I wouldn't have made that scene. So is this what Jesus is talking about? By the renewing of your mind? Is this what Jesus is talking about? Because this slap that Jesus says that we should endure, what is he talking about? And is this something that this slap in the face, should we do that? Should we allow it to be? Should we not return insult for insult? Jesus says we are to turn the other cheek. Well, if I turn that other cheek, does it make me a punk? Does it make me weak? What does it do for me? And that's basically what we think. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. I gotta think like Christ. Let's talk about it. Come on, Reverend Outlaw. I think I heard you chiming in.
That was me, Pastor. All I was going to say is, before Reverend Outlaw come, is that he wants us to have no limit to doing the right thing, the Christ thing, the God thing. Reverend Outlaw.
Oh, okay. Pastor, Reverend Al, y'all have given out some great commentary on these things. It's all about your mind setting and your willingness to change. And your mind setting and your willing to change must match up with your attitude. Earlier, I spoke about Matthew in the Gospel of Matthew, and how he went from the Beatitudes to talking about the struggles of a Christian. And I think many of us don't take inventory of the true struggles that we have as Christians. But we don't really deal with the struggle, but we want to say that we are overcome. Well, you can't overcome until you deal with the issue at hand. If you're an alcoholic, you can't deal with sobriety until you face the reality that you're an alcoholic. If you're a drug addict, you cannot deal with the fact that you're a drug addict until you recognize that you are a drug addict. And then you must work towards being drug free. Well, if you know that we are all sin and falling short of the glory, then it takes work on a daily basis to minimize the sin that you have in you. And that starts with the renewing of your mind. See, if you continually think like the world, then you will continue to act like the world. Uh, and that's what this is all about. You know, it is blessed to have the right attitude in God. It's blessed is the person or the man or the woman, because God looks favorably towards that. He says, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. He said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. It's your attitude towards God's people is blessed when you are doing it in a spirit of excellence. Now, what does that say? Because it says here at one of the last one, it said, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. But it then says, rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophet who were before you. So this is nothing new about people's behavior. We just got to learn how to be like Jesus and be blessed for our behaviors. And I know that is hard to do. I'm not going to sit up here and say to you that is just that easy like Nike. No, some of us Nike symbols are curved, crooked, and unstraight. Some of us don't have an inverted sign in our life. We got a crooked, ragged circle, Nike symbol in our lives that needs some straightening out or some chiseling away of the imperfections in our lives. We got to learn how to find freedom in forgiving of our own sins. Some of us are slaves to our sins. We got to find freedom in it. And that means that we got to be more repentive instead of more remissive. Too many of us are too remissive instead of repentive in our actions. And so I say all that to say this. This that's going on, that has been going on in our world, is nothing new. That's why he came, so that he can show us how we should live. And if you want to follow the example, that's why it tells the preacher, Paul tells Timothy to preach the word in season and out of season, because the word is what's going to carry us in season and out of season, because it corrects, it rebukes, and it reproves what God is trying to tell us. So if you want to really get these messages that we're talking about, you got to start with the reading of your word, which will help you transform your mind and your thoughts. Because so whatever man thinketh, so he is.
Now, Reverend Outlaw, one of the things that you said sticks out to me, and it's the last thing, that as a man thinketh, so is he. we've been told all of our lives to hit back. We've been taught all of our lives. I know my grandmama say, if somebody hits you, you knock the hell out of them. My grandfather's philosophy was, it's better to say there he go than to say there he lay. And my grandmama always used to say, stop teaching that boy to be a coward. So I was taught to fight. I've seen parents say, I'm going to stand up here on this hill. You better go back down there to Peanut and Trouble Them house, and Peanut keep on hitting you. No, you better go down there, and I'm going to stand there and watch while you, Peanut, and Trouble fight each other. You're going to fight both of them. And if you don't fight them, I'm going to beat you. I'm telling you, I've seen parents send their children out to fight. Y'all going to fight in the street. And then, that's right, Sister Jackson, and you know, if somebody is winning that ain't supposed to be winning, if kinfolk out there, we gonna jump in. Oh, it's gonna be a brawl out there. And I'm gonna tell you, that's right. If you don't fight them, I'm gonna beat you. And then you're gonna still have to fight them. I mean, so we've been programmed to do this. As a soldier, I'm programmed not to pick a fight, but to neutralize a threat. Don't leave your brother or your sister behind. So-and-so got in a fight. Why you not down there with them? You know you couldn't go home without your brother or your sister. You know, we're taught to fight fire with fire. But Jesus doesn't tell us to fight fire with fire. He tells us to overcome evil with love. To overcome evil with love. So this is where I got, see, some of y'all come from some gangster families. Sister Frazier and Sister Jackson, y'all some gangsters. Y'all came out the black mafia or something. Nobody don't want to mess with y'all, man. Y'all, yeah, why don't y'all stay at home on opening day? Because we don't need no fights from y'all. Oh, man. No, I'm just playing. We're going to have to watch out. We're going to make y'all ushers / bouncers. Y'all qualified for the usher and bouncers ministry. And Debbie Noble going to be the head usher bouncer. Because she knows she'll fight. My mama used to tell me she'd take off all her clothes to fight. I say, no. Talking about bring the Crisco. I'm gonna rub down in some Crisco and it's gonna be on. I'm gonna fight you hard. But the idea is this. I know those are jokes. But the idea is, as we look at this thing, that's how we're raised. That's how we are taught. If somebody hits you, you hit them back. If somebody do this to you, you do that to them. Retaliation is something that's in us. And what we have to do is turn our minds, the way we think, over to God. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people say, all you got to do is, and blah, blah, blah. We get in this thing where, oh, it's easy to follow Christ. All we got to do is. It's not that easy. All you got to do is just say yes. It's more complicated than that. There has to be, you can't say yes when your spirit isn't linked with God's. You can't get yourself together. Only God, but you got to be open to allowing God to do it for you. Some people say the older I get, that's true. But there ought to be something inside of you that don't want to do that. See, I recognize when I hear somebody saying, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me act all out up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me act a fool up in here, up in here. You know, I recognize when someone is saying, boy, y'all better get on with it. Y'all need to leave me alone. That's that restraint that the Holy Spirit is putting on.
Bust the windows out your car, had everybody peeping out their window, Pastor.
I say, you bet not. But you're right. The idea is, especially if they were bumping it real loud. And so the idea is, when I think that I'm there with my spiritual transformation, I'm not even scratching the surface. I'm going in that direction, but I do have some things to work on. I'm never going to be complete. I'm always going to be moving to where God is taking me. And I don't want to be like that animal that's resisting. I don't want to go. That child, no, leave me alone. No. I'm saying, Lord, here I am. Take all of me and use me in your service the way you need me to be. I think turning the other cheek does not imply pacifism. I don't think that it means that we place ourselves or others in dangers either. I think Jesus' command to turn the other cheek is simply a command to just forego retaliation for personal offenses. He wasn't telling us not to choose at any point in time a retaliation. He wasn't setting the United States policy for retaliation, which is foreign policy. He wasn't throwing out the judicial system. Crimes can still be prosecuted and wars can still be waged, but the follower of Christ does not need to defend our personal rights or avenge our honor. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay, is what the Bible says. Jesus prays, Father, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do, in Luke 23 and 34. We are told that we are to be tolerable. Turning the other cheek is a better option than killing. It's a better option than fighting. It's a better option than violence. I think that Jesus is telling us to stretch our tolerance here. Suffer any injury that can be borne for the sake of peace. Above everything else, if you can handle it, if God will give you the grace to handle it, then handle it while keeping the peace. Handle it while keeping the peace. Walk away from it. And there are different ways to handle the same situation. You know, when I look at America and I look at how we think, Now the Oscars, and I said this before, are jumping on Will Smith for his act of violence, but all the movies that people usually get Oscars for have some element of killing, shooting, and violence in it. We're talking about curbing a society where the violence of women does not happen. But there are movies where I see women getting beat to the point where I can't even take it. I'm going to tell you, The Harder They Fall, that one scene in The Harder They Fall in the beginning, it almost stopped me from watching the whole movie. It made me sick to my stomach to see a man come in there and shoot that woman the way he did and blew her from her chair halfway across the room. Now that's violence. Now, and I mean, it made me cringe the way he shot her and the daddy. I mean, it made me literally sick to my stomach. I said, what are we watching? I couldn't hardly watch it. It made my anxiety go up for real. When I saw the Halle Berry movie, the one where she's boxing, when I saw how bad she was getting beat up, boom, 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 I was just like, all they doing to her character is getting her beat up. It made me sick. We are in a society, an environment that encourages violence. The more violent the picture is, the better it is. Shoot them up, bang, bang, sells. That's all we want to do. Violence sells. Man, let's fight. There it is. Ultimate fighting. That's taken over. Boxing used to be, now it's the ultimate fight. It's mixed martial arts. And some of the training that I have, I'm going to tell you, that stuff can kill you. That stuff can kill you. One hit with an open palm could kill you. And what I'm getting at is, how can the Academy be so hypocritical and talk about Will Smith and that baby slap? Because I do think that if Will wanted to do some real damage, he would have hit him with a closed fist and punched him in his eye. But you're right. He could have handled it and addressed it better. That is an alternative when he accepted his Oscar. Yeah. Even the cussing in public was foul. But I said all that to say, we are in American society that might makes right. We've had that instilled in us. And so that's why this passage means so much more, I believe, because Jesus speaks directly to this country. He speaks directly to our history. There's a historical context in the Roman world for this text, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. Of why this would make sense in Jesus' day. This, we can move straight to our day. And so I want us to really consider our spiritual transformation. If you will, you need to be transformed. If you're Chris, that's some transformation, because that's transformation for all of us on both sides of the coin. Now, here's my prayer. Ye that are spiritual, if you catch a brother overtaken in a fault, ye that are spiritual, restore such a one. We're so quick to say off with their head, and they ain't gonna never, I don't never want to da da da. But Chris's true measure will be his apology and his acceptance of Will's situation. And the true measure will be how they're going to treat each other when they see each other again. Are they going to handle it like Matthew 18 Christians? Denzel sat there and he went up to him, and I think he had one of the best comments to say. And obviously, there were a bunch of people checking on Will, too. Now, he the one did the slapping, but they checked on Will. We got to learn to check on our brothers and sisters, because there's something going on with Will. Will had hit a breaking point, y'all. And everybody get to a point where they'll snap. Temperance is a fruit of the Spirit. Long-suffering is a fruit of the Spirit. Meekness is a fruit of the Spirit. In order to reconcile, in order to be spiritual and restore such a one, in order to restore a relationship, in order to apologize when some man has slapped you on national TV while you were doing, quote unquote, your job as a comedian. But you got to be more careful. And maybe that's why everybody hates Chris. That's just a joke. It's a joke. I don't hate Chris. Nobody hate Chris. It's a joke. But whatever it is, will they be able to get it back together? Will they be able to fix what's wrong? That's going to be the greater measurement of their spiritual transformation. And maybe that's the problem. God ain't transforming what he don't have. If he doesn't have their hearts and their commitment, then all he's doing is getting their attention. I hope they let the transformation begin for all of them. Jada too. Because I'm going to tell you, a good woman could have say, baby, now ain't the time. Come on, sit on down. Come on. Very few women a man to run over. His wife, his girlfriend, his mama, or his sister. Now, if you're an auntie, you might get slung around a couple of times. Just playing. But what I'm going to tell you is, a good woman, not behind every man is a good woman. On the side of every man is a good woman. She's on his side so that she can pull him. A woman can mess you up. She can, listen, I'm going to throw it out there for you. Before we leave, I want you to understand that women, you have the influence. There's something that God gave you that he didn't give any other creature. He gave Adam dominion, but he gave you influence. And the idea is a good woman can take a bad man and lead him to do some good things. But a bad woman can take a good man and turn him out and make him do some ugly things. And of course, a bad man and a bad woman, that's bad. That's bad to the second power. They just bad. My example, if I can give you one, Eve said, this looked good for food. And she gave to Adam and he did eat. Bad influence. Ahab and Jezebel. Jezebel was such a bad influence that they threw her over the balcony and the dogs ate her whole body and left her hands and her feet only. Jezebel made her king do bad stuff to Elijah. Bad influence. Ananias and Sapphira. Sapphira was a bad influence on Ananias. You remember? Selling the property, bring in the money and lie. Her husband died, and then she died right after him. God got rid of him in the sanctuary for lying. But then let's look at the women who are good influences. When you look at the scripture, Mary is a good influence on Jesus. Elizabeth is a good influence on Mary. Ruth is influenced by an older Naomi. Y'all see this, don't you? Deborah tells Barak, get on out there and do what you're supposed to do. When you see the influence of good women, Mary Magdalene, Tabitha or Dorcas, Lydia, Phoebe, Eunice, and Lois that help put the faith in Timothy. That's a good influence. When women have a good influence, they can take a man and turn him around. And if I pray for Jada, because she knew Will was, if you know your man crazy, why do something to set him off and trigger him? Don't you do the opposite? Man, I know my daddy crazy. Don't come over here with that music early in the morning. My daddy crazy. You know not to provoke. They should have known better. She should have said something. She should say, honey, it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's okay. And she know he crazy. Get up there and stop that man from doing that. Something in me tells me that didn't happen. I'm not sure. We've got to be careful and prayerful about our influence on others. God bless y'all tonight. Brothers, y'all got something, Law? Okay, I guess we done beat the dead horse tonight. It was great being on here with y'all and discussing this. Thank you for your interaction. This has been one of the most interactive Bible studies, both morning and night. Let us be in prayer for the family of Sister Julia Carter. She passed away today. Her services will be on Saturday at the church. I'm trying to see. I'm not sure what time yet on Saturday, but I do know that it will be Saturday. Pray for that particular family. Pray for our families that are having services on tomorrow. Oh, it's at 11. It's Saturday at 11. Sister Julia Carter. At 11:30 tomorrow, we will have Brother Nelson, the husband of Sister Shirley Nelson. And then following that service at 2 o'clock, we will have the services for Brother Michael Livingston. And so we're going to keep them in our prayers. We're also praying for our service for Resurrection Sunday morning. I want y'all to be aware of that service. It's going to start at 9 o'clock, y'all. 9 o'clock in the sanctuary. Hope that you will be there. We're going to have a time. Rededicate the church, Lord's Supper, and we're going to try to do it all within the hour. So make sure you come and be a part of that worship experience. Remember the Lord's tithe, that we should sow good seed. Given it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give into your bosom. It's a promise that we will reap what we sow. So please remember the church. Remember your $25 sacrificial offering, $1 for every month that we have been out of the sanctuary. Please, ma'am, please, sir, would you participate in this offering? When the children of Israel came into the new temple that was built and hewn by the workers that Solomon employed, Solomon brought offerings unto the Lord. I feel that it is a good thing upon coming back to the church, if we would offer up a sacrificial offering unto the Lord. So we're asking $25. Please, ma'am, please, sir, participate in the sacrificial, in that particular sacrificial offering above our tithes and our offerings. I'm thankful for Reverend Outlaw and Reverend Irick for being here these 24 months, moving into month number 25. I want to thank these gentlemen for their service and our continued service to Christ and continued service on this broadcast. We try not to miss any Wednesday. We try to make sure that you have every Sunday covered. And so it has been a pleasure to be here with these gentlemen, and thank you for being here with us. So please remember our services on the 17th, Sunday service, the 17th, in-person worship. And so we're praying that we will be able to get it in. All right. Thank you so much for being here with us. As the brothers, I guess the brothers don't have anything for us tonight. Then, Lord willing, we will see you. Our services will be broadcast for our, homegoing services. So you'll be able to tune into the Facebook channel to see those. So I'll see you on Wednesday if the Lord say the same. Lord willing. God bless you. Good night to you. Sleep well and continue your spiritual transformation.